What up, Bills Mafia? Welcome to Bills HQ, where we talk all things Buffalo Bills football and NFL. I'm your host, Julian Mott. Now, today, we got probably a bit of a quick one. I don't know. We'll see how long it goes. But I just want to talk about the top things that I'm looking at for our preseason game against the Colts. Now, as of this recording, the game is tomorrow at 4 o'clock. I'm recording this on Friday. And there's a lot of things I'm excited for. I was saying earlier, I'm excited for everything 1 through 90 or 1 through 89. Let's go. I'm ready. Um, that's not true. I was looking through the roster. There's like 7 or 8 guys I've never even heard of. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Guys like Neil Powell, I just heard of last week. I don't know every guy. So let's say I'm excited for 1 through 75. 1 through 80, we'll say. Just so I'm not lying to you guys. um, but yeah, let's get into it. Now, the very first thing that I am looking at is this DB battle. I am super excited about all of our young DBs. We got a bunch of good young DBs. It's just crazy to me how Brandon Bean is continually able to find value in the later rounds of the draft. It's insane to me. Taron Johnson, Saran Neal. Now you got a guy like Christian Benford who is knocking on the door. I mean, this guy is trying to bust the door down, trying to get on the field. He is forcing his way into first team reps. I am so excited to see Christian Benford on Saturday. And it's funny that Christian Benford is the first guy, is basically the first name out of my mouth for guys I'm excited to see on Saturday. And it's true. And I would this you could have told me I was gonna be this excited for this guy during the draft. Of course, I'd never heard of him. I've never heard of most of the guys that go in the draft. But I mean, young, aggressive, smart. And he's the guy, the big difference we're hearing between him and Kyer in camp is that Christian Benford is finding his nose around the ball. He's finding his ways into making plays. And Kyer's still trying to figure it out a bit. Now, Kyer is basically getting reps exclusively against Diggs and Davis, and that doesn't help. But I am so excited to see Christian Benford on Saturday. Um, Kyer Elam, of course. I'm excited to see him as well. Now, the nice thing about seeing these guys, and the nice thing about Saturday is that the Colts are actually playing their starters. We're gonna see Matt Ryan. We're probably gonna see Michael Pittman, and I don't know how much Jonathan Taylor we're gonna see, but it's not really relevant to this conversation. Although those guys being able to come up and make tackles is gonna be important as well. It's gonna be interesting to see if they're able to do that. But Christian Benford, Kyer Elam, I'm super excited to see how he competes. I'm excited to see how he competes, and I'm interested to see what he looks like, especially in terms of his hand usage. We know illegal contact is going to be something that they're really going to focus on this year. It's going to be really important that he plays hands free. He used that 5 yard bump, but after that, when the quarterback's in the pocket, you can't have your hands all over the guy, and he's gonna struggle with that. From my understanding, he's gonna struggle with that, and we're gonna have to be patient. So hopefully, all these boxing glove drills and things like that, all this stuff that he's been doing after practice, because all we hear is that he's the first guy on the field and he's one of the last guys off the field. He's working. He's working. So I'm excited about Kyer. I'm excited about Christian. Dane Jackson. Dane is just becoming all reliable. He hasn't had a amazing camp or anything like that, but you just don't hear about him, which is good about a cornerback. That's what you want. So I'm really excited to see the cornerback battle. I think there's some super interesting things that are gonna unfold. Um, Punting. I never thought I would say that, and I'm actually not that excited, but I know some people may be. But um, we're not playing a whole lot of starters. There may be a whole bunch of punting. on Saturday. So there's going to be a whole lot to evaluate if you're into that kind of thing. I don't know how to evaluate the punting. Like, I guess I could get a stopwatch and see what the hold times are. And then, of course, if you're at the 50-yard line, you can see where the ball lands and things like that. But, for the most part, I'm just going to be interested to see what a lot of other guys have to say after the game in regards to the punting competition. I mean, you got to think if it's even close to being even, it's going to be advantage Ariza. It has to be. We've seen Matt Hawk a million times. We're still waiting to see Ariza. So that's going to be super interesting. That's going to be super interesting. Um the young pass rushers. That's another thing I am super excited to see. What do they look like? I don't know how much of Rousseau we're gonna see. I talked last video in our training camp recap video. I talked a little bit about my JV situation, how I didn't play because there's nothing really to evaluate. And Gregory Rousseau is getting to that point. I mean, this man has been a beast in camp, and he's given guys work. His technique is coming together. He's really bringing his pass rush repertoire all together. Um, he's got that one arm stab. I know I just scared some of you guys. He's got that one arm stab, and apparently, he's really learned how to manipulate um blockers and be able to do different things off of that one arm jab. So I'm really interested to see Rousseau. I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of him, but obviously I am really interested to see Boogie Basham and AJ Epinesa. Those are two guys we need to step up. We need those two guys to step up. There's no Jerry Hughes. There's no Mario Addison. There's no Fa Obata. There's none of those guys. There's Boogie Basham. There's AJ Epinesa and there's Shaq Lawson, you know. And we basically know what Shaq's going to offer. So I'm interested to see what these two guys look like. I want them to look the part athletically. That's first. I really need to I need to see them getting off the ball. I need to see them. Uh, I need to see a bit of overwhelming of the offensive lineman. I need a bit of it. Like I just have to. From all reports, that's what we've seen from Greg Rousseau. We haven't seen a whole lot of it from AJ Epinesa and Boogie Basham. So I'm really interested to see if they've been able to expand their repertoire at all. I'm interested to see the type of motor that they play with. I'm just excited to see what they may be able to bring to the table. Um, Offensive line. I'm wondering how much. You know what? I'm guessing that the offensive line is going to play. I don't know about Dawkins. Um, but Morris almost has to play. Our backup center is Ryan Bates, right? Morris almost has to play. I don't know how much still, but I'm interested to see who plays on the offensive line, how much, and how they look under new offensive line coach Aaron Cromer. So that's gonna be interesting. McDermott he didn't say the first team offensive line would play. Um, Yeah, but it wouldn't be surprising not to see them out there. Um, yeah, so we talked about the punters. I mean, really, lastly, the last thing that I'm really interested to see is just these young pass catchers. you know, I, you know, every every receiver on the depth chart is going to be basically exciting to watch. More for the Bills this year. You got Khalil Shakir, you got Isaiah Hodgins. Those are two guys that I'm really interested to see. Shakir's spot on the roster, I think, is safe. It was interesting actually today. I was just listening to Sal, and he was saying Shakir more than anything is going to be interesting to see. Does he kick return? Does he punt return? He may have those responsibilities. And apparently, a big reason why he's saying it's a big possibility is because he's reliable catching the ball back there. So I'm excited to see that with him. But obviously, I'm excited to see him incorporate it into the offense. How he catches the ball, where he plays is going to be really interesting. A lot of talk coming out of the draft was he is exclusively a slot receiver. Um, but from what we've been hearing, he's been treated closer to a Gabriel Davis. I'm sorry, a Gabe Davis, where he kind of plays all around. Gabe Davis played all around his rookie year and his second year. So that's going to be exciting. Isaiah Hodgins. Now, Isaiah Hodgins is a slot receiver, a big slot receiver. And I mean, the big thing with him has been his health since he's been drafted. He just hasn't been able to be on the field consistently. And we know Sean McDermott's big thing is availability. And he's been having a good camp. We heard that quote from Case Keenum. He gets a little tingling when he when he passes to Isaiah Hodgins. So it's going to be interesting to see what is if he's able to translate that on the field with against a different opponent. It's gonna be super interesting. Even guys like Tanner Gentry, I don't really think there's a path to a guy like Gentry making the roster, but he's a guy that can be fun to watch. Neil Powell, Neil Powell is my dude. He is my guy. He's my friend Neil Powell. He's my guy. He was making plays in the red and blue game. So those guys would be exciting to watch. I don't think they're any type of threat to make the roster or anything like that. But of course, we just want to have fun uh, seeing these guys play. Um, how much of Dorsey's new offense are we going to see? Probably none. Probably none. Not true. That's not true. You know what we saw last preseason? They laid the groundwork for what they wanted to do. They laid the groundwork for what they wanted to do, and they're going to do the same thing this preseason. You'll see the fundamentals of the offense and what they're trying to accomplish without getting too complicated. You know, Dorsey is going to start in the booth on Saturday. Okay, play calling is probably going to be vanilla, but he's going to start in the booth. So that's going to be interesting to see. I'm excited about that. Obviously, there's no Josh, so that dynamic's not going to be there. But you know, 1 week closer. Um, Now the last guy I'm excited to see is our guy James Cook. James Cook. I've been struggling with what to do with James Cook in fantasy. I don't know if anybody watches these videos, but if you do, and you're still watching all the way into near the end of this video, let me know what you think about James Cook down in this description. Let me know what you think about him in fantasy. Where you think he should be going, the type of value you think he might have. Do you think he offers a higher ceiling than Devin Singletary? Devin Singletary has a higher floor for sure. But do you think James Cook's ceiling is higher? Let me know in the description down below. But I'm excited to see James Cook. I think he's gonna get a good amount of burn. He's a guy that the Bills are gonna want to use, so you want to be careful. It's still preseason, but at the end of the day, he's a rook. He's a rook. What does Josh call him? A stupid rook. Let me stop. But that's what Josh calls him. They gotta get their reps in. They've never played NFL. He's never had a snap of NFL football in his life. Got to put him out there. Got to see what he looks like. Got to get him acclimated to the speed of the game. I don't think it's going to be an issue. It doesn't seem like it's been an issue. It seems like this guy is different. And he's going to continue to be different. And that's one of the reasons why I want to see him on Saturday. I'm so excited. This came so fast. August 13th. August 13th, the very first preseason game. We are here. We are getting into games. It's going to be the regular season before we know it. It's going to be the playoffs before. Let me stop. Let me stop. But I appreciate you guys joining me today. If you like the content, go ahead, subscribe if you like this kind of talk content. We talk Buffalo Bills football, we talk NFL. Um, maybe we'll get into some fantasy stuff. I'm doing 3 fantasy leagues. It was looking like I was gonna do one, but I'm doing 3. I'm the commissioner of one actually, where I work, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I appreciate you guys uh joining in. That's it for me, guys. And yeah, until next time, bye bye.